For the past year and give or take a couple months, I've been working on an absolutely massive Roblox game. Back then, it looked something like this, and we've completely transformed it into something incredible. A huge part of this game has to do with driving, and a huge part of driving is highways. Anyways, we got some work to do. All right, guys, so the Dream Game map is coming along like absolutely fantastic. However, we have this absolutely massive highway that goes around pretty much all of the map. Like, look how far I have to zoom out. It goes around, I'd say 3/4 of the map. We have all of this space is a highway. And something that I've noticed, it's not exactly the most fun to drive on it because it's the same scenery for the whole time. And originally, I was gonna make this have an underwater tunnel at one point. And I thought this was a really cool idea someone in the live stream gave to me. But since the highway is so raised up already and not against the water, that's not really gonna work. The drop would be too massive and the climb would be too massive, and it wouldn't look good. Trust me, we tried. So today what I'm gonna do is add an absolutely massive bridge, which is gonna fix two problems. Number one problem, the highway being boring to drive on, and number two, everyone's asking for a bridge. I don't know why. Like, look at any tweet we post on the Bike Life Twitter. Everyone wants a bridge. So this whole section is going to be changed to a bridge that is based in Chicago. If you're unfamiliar, this map is based in Chicago. With a quick Google search of bridge in Chicago and picking one that would actually span quite a bit of a distance, we have this, the Skyway Bridge, and that's what we're gonna be remaking today. First, I'm gonna need my epic art skills. Oh yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. All right, guys, I think we're just gonna have to start it. This is gonna be a pretty big build, but it's gonna make the game look so much better. All right, we're gonna start at this light pole, go all the way down to this light pole, and let me get everything sort of measured out so we have a good block out to start with. All right, everything is now spaced how I think I want it to be. Another thing I just noticed, and this is gonna save us a lot later, there is a decent bit of optimization I can do here as well, since the road is made in segments, which we already knew it was made in segments, but I didn't really think about this. With the straights, we could delete these segments and just stretch the part across all of this. So instead of having, like, let's say there's 16 parts per segment, there could be more, could be less, 16, 32, 64, like there's a lot of extra parts that are just not needed here. Also, on the bottom of the bridge, I'm not too sure we're gonna keep any of this stuff on the highway. Like, you're not gonna see it at all. So what's the point of having it in general? I'm gonna get all of this optimized into probably like 10 parts instead of probably over 100. And then we can actually start building the bridge itself. But I wanna make sure the base is good, so we have a better final product. All right, with everything cleaned up, I made this into like a 4-lane highway. It kind of just splits off from here. I think this bridge is gonna be a sick spot to hit clips and definitely a great spot for recording stuff. So I wanted to just open it up. People are going to be doing drifts, donuts, rolling burnouts, wheelies, stompies, everything over this bridge. So I wanted to open it on up. I got the bottom made as well. This is just a texture, so we're not using a super ton of parts. There is one thing we have to sort of keep in mind, and that is how to use the least amount of the least amount of parts possible, because the map is so big. A great example of this would be Jailbreak. The build overall looks incredible, but things as simple as lines on the pavement for parking spots are a texture. But they have even more crazy examples than that. These fences are another example. It's just a texture on one part instead of having, you know, a super ton of parts. Another crazy example is their train track. No, these are not parts. These are indeed a texture. And then we have to look at the overall low poly nature of Jailbreak as well. If we look at their trees, for example, as you can see, it's nothing special, but it gets the point across. Our trees, however, are kind of crazy. Long story short, guys, there's a lot of detail within this build, so anywhere we can save some parts, we definitely need to. I think what I'm gonna try to do is get the basic shape roughed out on the tops, and then see if I can use some sort of a texture for the actual beams themselves. So hopefully, if we look at this bridge, the only parts would be the straight one that goes across the top of this. That would be a part. We would have a slight curve up. That I think I could do that in about 2 parts per side. So 6 total. And then this one is a more drawn out one. So 1, I think I could do it like that. These would be the parts. And then there would be like a part, maybe a wedge here, here, and here, and then a part here with hopefully a texture on them. Let's see how this goes. I guess we'll start in the easiest way possible by just making the beams. I do want these to be pretty thick, something along those lines. Also, as I'm continuing this build, guys, I want to make a dream game video where the whole time it's me putting in your guys' ideas. So if you have any cool ideas for the map, let me know in the comments down below, and I'm gonna make a big list of them. And it should be a pretty banger video. All right, so for this one's a bit more curved. We're gonna bring this to about half, and then we're gonna use this to meet up with the top. I'd say something like that works pretty good, actually. Now, if we, should we just duplicate this? I think this would be our best bet. All right, I think I figured out the best way to go about this. So I've made these unions, which, for the most part, isn't exactly the best thing to do, but I do think in this little situation, this scenario, I do think it would be the best way to go about it. We got 1 union here, 1 here, and then this is a normal part. These are all going to be transparent, and I need to find a texture that will look good on the side of this bridge without being too overbearing. For example, if we just grabbed the one that's down here and tossed it on all of this, yeah, it, not exactly, no, we're not doing that. All right, I think I found one. It's not exactly like the best. Let me move this up to like maybe 15. Yeah, or not. It's not horrible though. I think if we take this and make it all the way transparent, I don't think it's that bad. Of course, it's not gonna be perfect. And then we can add a couple of these parts. We'll say 100 studs apart from each other. And I think overall that'll look somewhat decent. All right, there's only one way to find out. 100, 100, 100, and 100. We're gonna leave that last one. Now we'll do them across the bridge like this. All right, now all that's left is to scale all of these down, and we should have a pretty decent design. All right, I've been working on this, and I'm not overly loving it. I think we're almost just better off using the parts and taking the small performance hit. It won't look as detailed, but it's gonna look better than unions with these textures that I'm not overly loving. So I think I'll do some sort of cross-hatch pattern throughout this, maybe just the big parts. I don't know exactly. I gotta figure out how to detail it without the most parts, but also I don't want it to look like hideous. All right, definitely a bit more parts, but I think it overall looks better than the previous. The last thing I want to do, once again, trying to keep a pretty minimal part count, is just add some sort of visual support here. Drop this to a darker color, duplicate the top, and there we go. Now we're gonna paste that on the other side as well. And I do think this bridge will be something I revisit later, after I learn more stuff, of course. But I don't think it overly looks bad. There is one thing missing, however, and that is supports for underneath the bridge. I like the idea of having the island under it, so I'm gonna see if I can copy and paste this bit of terrain, rotate it and put it over here, and then I could just build some sort of a support that looks like it's helping the bridge stay up. So the copy and pasting terrain thing, I used to know how to do it, but now I don't, so that's kind of tough. I think we're gonna leave it like this for now. It seems pretty all right. Make sure everything is anchored, which it is, and we're gonna go to our material manager because we need to make this all not plastic. Most of these bridges are made of metal, so do we have anything? Does rusted look cool? Honestly, I like the darker red, not gonna lie. I think that actually looks pretty sick. This sort of rusted metal look. I don't think I'm too mad at that, gotta be honest. Now, the real question is, how does it look when we drive on it? Yo, I thought this was pretty cool. We have this chrome bike, which is just a really cool bike, right? And it only spawns in 1 in 100 times, so it was really cool that the first time I hopped in the game, it spawned in for me, and I guess we could show it off. This is also in the testing place as well. If you ever play the game and you're going for clips, try to get the chrome bike, bro, just because it's so much more rare than the other bikes, and your clips will instantly be 10 times more attractive than any other color bike. However, let's gear up and let's get on to this highway so I can show you guys what the problem we hopefully fixed is. Here we go, hopping on, and this, right, we could travel on this highway forever, and it looked like this over and over, and we may need to find more ways to make it more unique, because as you can see, we're still driving and it's just the same. However, our bridge is coming up, and I can't wait to see. I'm going full-on 6th gear top speed, and I'm gonna try to stoppie over the whole bridge. Oh, is it happening? We're kind of losing speed pretty quick. I don't think we're gonna make it over the whole bridge, but I'm not mad with how this turned out. I can't lie. It's far from perfect, but I do think it does the job of breaking up the bridge, or breaking up the highway, and just making it one more cool thing. It definitely needs a lot more support beams because that just wouldn't work in real life. But what we needed it for, guys, I think we definitely accomplished. Let's go ahead and hit a nice little scrape, set the wheelie down, hit a stoppie. Guys, I can't wait for this game to come out. Bridge is done for today. Let's get into some questions. Question number 1, in Blender, you use a plugin rig to make GFX. I use the same. However, I don't know how to enable the wrist controls to move the fingers. Do you know how I can enable it? Okay, it's been probably a year plus since I've done any GFX work. I think most of the time if you click the head, there is settings within that. However, I don't even remember which rig I used, so I have no clue which one you're talking about. But most of the time, clicking on the head does enable more controls that you can enable or disable based on what you want to move. Hopefully that helps. I'm not sure if it will. Question number 2, who created the UI? Because I know you said you weren't hiring UI designers at the moment, so I am interested in who made it. Guys, it's sort of a hodgepodge of everything at this point in time. We started with an open source template from the dev forum and then just kind of made things work for our game, stretched things, remade some things, and everything. It's a little bit of all over the place at the moment. Anyways, I do think that's gonna wrap it up for today. If you did enjoy and are hyped for more content like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great day. Later.